Okay, here we are with another vintage cube. Right off the top, Demonic Tutor. Here's the thing. Of like the first pick cards in this pack, Venser's pretty good. Charter Course is good draw cards. A Reanimate Enabler. Signets are always decent. Bomat Courier actually really great. Red card. Giver of Runes great. White card, but like red and white aggro, not decks I want to first pick into. Oath of the Druids will usually come back around, but you can base a deck around it. Metamorph, I don't like it, but the Demonic Tutor is basically power. It's whatever. What's the best card in your deck? Hey, you get a second copy. So here, so this is there's Lotus Bloom, which is great, a speed card, amazing. Council Judgment is great, but it has been coming like third to last pick recently. Noble Hierarch if you want to do green. Muldrifter's decent. Brimaz is a great white aggro card. Bazaar is an enabler for Reanimate, but really for me right now is in between Wheel of Fortune and Time Spiral. I'm thinking like, oh, you know, this might actually be a storm deck. I could do storm things. We could do storm things. So we could storm the castle. So I go, you know what? Hey, Wheel of Fortune is cheaper. Sometimes you can do storm. Like usually it's this blue rising high tide. I always say rising tide. Blue high tide storm, which Demonic Tutor kind of doesn't go into. But like Wheel of Fortune is cheaper. Usually when I'm time spiraling, it turns out I'm like tapping 4 lands and some artifacts, and I only get the 4 lands back as far as from the untap. And I'd rather just have a cheaper draw 7. Although Time Spiral, the added bonus is if you've used cards, you get to use them again. The added bonus of Wheel of Fortune is if you have cards in your graveyard and you need to Yogg Will, you keep those cards in your graveyard. Here we go. So, what am I looking for Storm? I'm looking for Lion's Eye Diamond. You can't depend on getting Black Lotus. So, it's Lion's Eye Diamond, more tutors, more rituals. You do kind of want Tendrils. I think Tendrils is the only consistent Storm win. So here, what do we got? Preordain, great to help find what I need. Thalia would be great for the white deck. Same thing with Gideon. This is a great white. But then I see the Lion's Eye Diamond. Now, it'll probably maybe come back around. But since I'm going, I'm like, okay, here's the time to decide. Yeah, I'll go deep into Storm. I could also try to grab Ulamog and wield the Shallow Grave for that deck. But I do reanimate a lot. I play it a lot. I love it. But sometimes you want to do something a little different. And so Darkslit Shores would also be good as far as a land for this non-high tide storm. Here we go. So in this pack for me, there's Spire Bluff, which is a great dual land. I'm probably going to be throwing blue on this. There's Narset, but it's 2 blue, and I'm betting I'm going to be main black and red because those are where all the Dark Rituals, Desperate Rituals, Seething Songs, etc. are. So Seasoned Pyromancer is a way to sort of model your hand, and it is it can keep you alive. But I go for the Spire Bluff thinking I need to have some consistency here. I would love to have Karn. Karn is not hard to ramp into. It can be a game ender. Amazing. Snapcaster, not terrible. Young Pyromancer, not terrible. Opposition Agent, not terrible. But you see Yogg Will, you have Lion's Eye Diamond. Yeah, you kind of got to go for it. Here, there's Thieving Skydiver, which is better than I thought for Cube, but I'm planning to hopefully win on turn 3 or 4, and not to like, well, I stole your artifact on turn 4. Blah. So Entomb with Yawgmoth's Will, Entomb basically becomes a tutor. So I'll grab Entomb. And also, if I want to pivot out, if I get scared, I can pivot into Reanimate. Entomb is one of the best cards for Reanimate. I already have this Demonic Tutor. Wheel of Fortune would still go in that deck. Yawgmoth's Will arguably could go into a Reanimate deck as well. So if I get scared about doing Storm things, I can do Reanimate things. Here, Firebolt is good as both early removal and if you 1000-year Storm. You need at least a final damage spell to. You've been copying instants. You need a final one to kill them. And Firebolt, you can just sort of like leave in your graveyard with a flashback until you need to do that. Toxic Deluge, another great way to counter aggro decks. Corpse Dance, if I want to make that deck. But I think I go Mirari Conjecture because, like, I'm going deeper into Storm. Mirari Conjecture is a Storm enabler if you have rituals and, like, frantic searches and stuff. So while it's not my favorite because the opponent sees it coming and you can't activate it now. Like, you can't say, like, oh, I want my extra spell turn now. It is a Storm enabler. Here, a few choices. There's Lightning Bolt. Great. Once again, also starts the damage spree with Thousand Year Storm. Makeshift Mannequin, if I'm trying to do Entomb things, like, I could just have a 2-card combo, or I would need a big creature, but, you know, just Makeshift Mannequin and Entomb and have the Demonic Tutor to find the missing piece. Angrass Rampage is a great control spell. Planeswalkers, all of it. Runaway Steamkin, not bad. Like, if I get more red rituals, it's like a red ritual producer itself. But I like this Thassa's Oracle because there's if you get Burgi, the Horn, if you Wheel of Fortune when you have the Horn in play, you can basically exile 14 cards from your deck and you've just drawn 7. That's 21 cards from your deck. It gets you into the realm of possibility of winning with Thassa's Oracle. Also, Yawgmoth's Bargain, which people pass way late. You can draw, hopefully, enough of your deck that then you can win with... It is feasible to win with Thassa's Oracle. So I'm going back and forth with the red spells, but I'm like, well, this Thassa's Oracle plan... Especially because I have Wheel of Fortune specifically and not Time Spiral or Time Twister, the cards that reshuffle your graveyard. So here, Light Up the Stage, not terrible. Not ideally with what you want, because if you like Light Up the Stage... and you want, you know, if you're trying to draw into like Mirari's Conjecture or Thousand Year Storm and you light up the stage, you're like, oh no, now I have to rush to play it. Blah. So I just Electromancer. I need rituals for the Electromancer to really be sort of activated and powerful. Here, it's just the Lotus Bloom. Council Judgment came back around, and Brimaz, and Legionnaire. No one is playing white. There's an amazing white deck in this cube. I mean, technically, it wouldn't be too late to pivot. And then you get Gideon, Ally of Zendikar. Gideon, Ally of Zendikar would be another great, maybe I should have pivoted. I won this draft, but, you know, maybe it could have been an easier way. I grabbed the dual land because I'm playing 3 colors, and I'm going to have to probably mulligan my hands enough because of the weird spells I'm drawing and the combinations I need thereof. I don't also want lands to be a factor in me mulliganing. I want my lands to be perfect, even if I have to mulligan down to 5. Here, it's in between Gonti and Seasoned Pyromancer. I figure most things my opponent have won't work with my deck. I'd rather be able to craft my hand a little bit and make some poopy little 1/1s to live longer and prosper. Here, Opposition Agent is a very real pick. I grab Pyromancer because, like, let's say I end up spinning my tires as far as a Storm win condition. Technically, you know, I play 20 spells from my deck with Pyromancer in play is kind of a win condition. And then I got a last pick Corpse Stance. That cannot be correct. So, this pack. Bolas the Citadel. Amazing. Bolas the Citadel is amazing in Storm specifically. It'll probably come back around. I don't need to first pick it. Upheaval is great in almost any deck, especially if I'm doing fast mana things, like even Lion's Eye Diamond. Grave Titan, castable. Corpse Danceable, Manamorphose, it's a free spell and it fixes my mana in the 3-color deck. Fire Knights can stall my opponent a turn. It's all great, but Tinker, I can potentially grab the Tinker, hopefully wheel the Citadel, and then maybe even get a Sundering Titan. I think I've already seen that, but a mere Battle Sphere or a Blightsteel or an Inkwell. It's like Tinker gives me another whole way to win, and what I am missing right now are ways to win. Thassa's Oracle is my only one. So here, Scalding Tarn. I would love Scalding Tarn. Miscalc, not terrible. Riftwing is good. It slows your opponent down, and because it's Suspend, it sort of like is a free spell maybe when you want to go off. Collective Brutality is great, especially with the Makeshift or the Corpse Dance. But I gotta grab Past in Flames. Past in Flames is good, especially with Wheel of Fortune, because if I'm like discarding my deck, I can use it from my graveyard. If I'm discarding my hand. Also, if you get Brain Freeze, you can Brain Freeze yourself for like 15 if you don't have enough to kill them. And then hopefully it gets enough active spells in your graveyard with the Past in Flames that then you can brainstorm them or Brain Freeze them for enough with the Fast in Flames next turn. So here, Love this Polluted Delta. Would love to have it. Ancestral Vision. I need more card advantage other than just Wheel of Fortune. And once again, because of its Suspend, it's sort of a free spell the turn it comes off Suspend. Goldspan Dragon has been impressive to me in Cube. Dark Confidant, not terrible in the Storm deck for some value. Fire Blast as a good free spell the turn you go off and something to kick off Thousand Year Storm. I do want this Mana Flare, but I also know Mana Flare comes like third, fourth to last pick. So I also want this Polluted Delta. I'm going with the Ancestral Vision just because like it's taking me a second to be like, no, what should I do? I want all these cards. No, please. But I really do need card advantage or else this deck's going to fall flat. So here, so many choices. Blood Crypt to keep my mana consistent. Exhume if once again I'm scared and I want to pivot out into Reanimate. Kiki, Jiki, and Deceiver Exarch. Neither will probably wheel, so I've probably missed the boat on that. There is Through the Breach as a part like, oh, maybe Through the Breach and Corpse Dance, I can grab like an Eldrazi of some type and have a backup plan for this deck, as well as like if I can ritual off casting the Eldrazi, and then there's Thousand Year Storm, but Thousand Year Storm comes like second to last pick. So yeah, there's Thousand Year Storm, Blood Crypt. I'm like, bro, I want these cards. No, I don't want these cards. I guess I'll grab Through the Breach. I'll need a big creature, but yeah, I'm going like, here, see this Corpse Dance. So, and then this pack, Watery Grave, I want it. Steam Vents, I want it. Thoughtseize, I want it so bad. I want Thoughtseize both because it enables Corpse Dance, you can Thoughtseize yourself, and because if I Wheel of Fortune and I give you 7 cards, one thing I really want to do is take away your best card from that new 7 I've given you. Or the turn I'm going off of Storm, Thoughtseize lets me make sure you don't have any weird the Force of Wills, Force of Negations to stop me. But Gristlebrand works so well with Through the Breach and Corpse Dance. The one weak part about Gristlebrand as the Corpse Dance and Through the Breach target instead of the Reanimate target is that, you know, Gristlebrand doesn't kill. He draws you a lot of cards, deals a lot of damage. But in Storm, I can really capitalize on those extra cards. And if I like, it's in the realm. Gristlebrand is in the realm of castable. So in a Storm deck, if I'm like Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. Now I don't have any rituals yet, and we're almost halfway through the draft, so I'm like, bro, I need to get some rituals, or else this Tinker is gonna have to. So that's the thing with Storm, is like I'm halfway through this draft, and either it's gonna be decent or it's gonna be terrible. I don't think I'm gonna be for it to be amazing, I would need Black Lotus, and I really can't depend on that in like Ancestral. So that's the problem with doing Storm, is you can be halfway through the draft and like, well, this deck's okay. Good. It could just be a pile of poop. Thieves of Sanity is great here, but I need more land consistency, and Thieves of Sanity is like taking a pause from my main strategy. I don't think I have time to do that since I have like an okay Storm deck, not amazing one here. Oh, this pack. Inquisition. I love it. Same reason I love Thoughtseize. Brain Freeze. It is a win condition, but it's a weaker win condition. I'm a little biased because right before this I did a different Storm draft where I actually had Black Lotus and I had Brain Freeze, but I lost to an opponent who had Progenitus and Ulamog in their deck. Is that like I got off the Brain Freeze. I won one game because I Wheel of Fortune and they drew their Progenitus presumably, and then the Brain Freeze sorry, I didn't win that game. I thought I was gonna win that game because they had the Progenitus in their hand or whatever, and then they mulliganed. So I'm not sure if they basically on game 3 when I thought it was mine and I brainstormed them, I brain freeze them again. They either sideboarded in the Emrakul or they also had it in their hand that other game, because then I was brain freezing the Ulamog as an infinite cycle where you have to be very lucky. It has to be the last card that they draw, etc., etc. What am I getting at? The punchline is sometimes you go off with Brains Freeze, you do all this work, and it doesn't even win because they have an Eldrazi, they have a Blightsteel, they have Progenitus, etc., etc. So it's a dangerous win condition. I take Imperial Seal because maybe I'm just doing Entomb, Corpse Dance, Tinker things, you know? And Thassa's Oracle. Here, I love Damnation, love Strix, love Culligans, but it's Dark Ritual. I need more rituals. Dark Ritual is one of the best. 1 second. Waiting. Dark ritual. So, what am I missing? I'm missing more rituals. I'm missing some sort of actual storm card because I gave up that brain freeze. But you know, here I think it's Manamorphose. So Grave Titan would be also a great card if I want to hedge. But if I'm doing storm things, I'm doing storm things. So Manamorphose, which is another ritual, and it is discounted if you have a Goblin Electromancer out. So if you can like Goblin Electromancer, Manamorphose, Yogg-Will, or Passive Flames, Manamorphose again. You know, you sort of up mana here. It's just miscalc. It's a counterspell that I can always cycle. Dreadhorde is not going to be like, I don't want to cast a ritual during my combat phase and remove it from my graveyard. Maybe Imperial Seal or an Entomb, but very limited uses here. Mana Flare, having that extra mana. Ideally, you want extra mana with things that untap mana. Here, so there's Blood Crypt, but if I grab Thousand Year Storm, that's a way to win. Oh, I go Blood Crypt. I don't go Thousand Year Storm. Okay. So I put the Yawgmoth's Bargain with the Oracle because I'm like, these are a combo together, potentially. Here, it's definitely Soul Ring. Lotus Petal, I want. Relic's not so bad. Relic is a way to fight against if they have an Eldrazi and you're using Brain Freeze. Inferno Titan would also be a great card from there. So what am I looking to do? What am I looking to grab? I need more rituals because Passive Flames right now can only make me... okay, so here I see Channel and I'm like, oh, can I go green? Is it too late to go green? It's too late to go green. Oh... I would like Channel. There's also High Tide, but I'm not blue enough. There's Wooded Foothills, which gets a black via Blood Crypt. Valky's not bad, but it's like, oh boy. So there's Blackleaf Cliffs or the Wooded Foothills. The Wooded Foothills gets me black already, just like the Blackleaf Cliffs, and it thins my deck out, so I go with that. Here, oh, there's so much. There is the Badlands, which once again is a dual land for me. There's Baral, which makes things cheaper. There's Fallen Shinobi, which is great even though I don't have many creatures to ninjutsu up. There's Necromancy, which with a Gristlebrand and co. Or there's actual Empty the Warrens, which will probably wheel, but at this point I have no storm things. I'm desperate. I hate Empty the Warrens as my storm outlet almost as much as Brain Freeze, but I take it. Here there's Commit to Memory, which is both control and another draw 7. But I personally would rather have Faithless Looting. It both works with my Corpse Dance strategy, and it's just cheaper. I like Chandra would also be a great pick there, but I can't afford to, you know, a Chandra exile the top card of my library, and it's like Empty the Warrens on a turn when I don't want to empty, when I don't have the storm up. So, here there is Wormcoil. Right now I don't have any Tinker targets, so Wormcoil is a decent thing to tinker out. If I first turn, like, you know, Soul Ring, second turn Tinker, a second turn Wormcoil has a shot at winning the game, and it's a decent amount of like, well, it'll stall long enough. So here, I like Sneak Attack, but I really only have 2 creatures, like Gristlebrand and Wormcoil. I might not even be playing these creatures if I go True Storm. And then there's Seething Song, which is finally... Duress is also amazing. I would love all of these cards. But I go Seething Song because I don't have many rituals. I need things to be able to, like, ritual, Passive Flames ritual. So here there's Library or Birgi. Once again, I'm missing the ritual side. And Birgi has the 2 sides of the combo. Her first side, which is good as a ritual maker when you are storming off, and her second side, which is good for getting cards and, you know, exiling your whole library for the Thassa's Oracle combo. Here, Blightsteel, the perfect Tinker target, going for it. There's Dig Through Time, which I'm going to throw enough cards in my graveyard that's different. Pack Rat is a potential, like, if I really want to do the Corpse Dance thing, but I don't know if I'm doing the Corpse Dance thing. Here... I don't have enough blue for High Tide, and yeah, Necromancy would be great, but I think I'm going deep into Storm. Also, Nahiri wouldn't be bad either, but I think I just go Baral as another. Once again, I don't have rituals, so I'm gonna have to make the most out of every single mana that I have. I'm gonna be really constrained for mana. the Storm deck that I played before this, I lost that game that I lost because of Brain Freeze and they had an Ulamog. I could have done a Tendrils if I had literally one more mana. They had Terracodon me and the Woodfall Primus, not Woodfall Primus, the 8 mana one that's a 6/6 has persist and it removes one non-creature thing. So they'd gotten rid of a lot of my lands and resources, and if I had had one more mana, I could have Tendrils them and won. So I was going into this, I was like, I just did Storm, I just ran out of mana, I don't want to run out of mana again. I'm kind of down. This is not the best Storm deck, but I'm like, it's got a shot. It's got a shot. You know, we play Magic because there's luck involved. Here I'm making my lands. One interesting thing is that, like, I do need 2 blue potentially for the Thassa's Oracle. But hopefully by that time I'm comboing off and I can either Manamorphose or Lion's Eye Diamond. Away we go. I'm at 15 trophies, almost on the front page. Been doing a maximum of 2 drafts a day, though. A lot of days, sometimes I only get 1 draft in. So I feel like if I was a full-time streamer, maybe I'd be up there so close, and it ends in a day. Next time I will be on that front page. I am right below that front page. So we're just waiting. We are waiting. The one thing to know about this deck is I will have to mulligan a lot. I will be drawing the wrong half of my deck. I'll be drawing the wrong combinations of my deck. So you have to be prepared for that. Like this hand is like, okay, what am I hoping to do? I'm hoping to like entomb a Wheel of Fortune and then like Yawgmoth's Will the Wheel of Fortune in my graveyard. But I have the Lion's Eye Diamond, so I can like do it. Can Yawgmoth's Will, Lion's Eye Diamond in response. Replay the Lion's Eye Diamond, have the 3 mana out to be able to use the Wheel of Fortune. So I'm like, okay. And then I go, whoa, okay, Faithless Looting. That's great. So I have a potential plan of like hopefully draw a blue or red Goblin Electromancer and then do this turn of events. Now they are black and white, so they could have white removal for my Electromancer. They could have black removal for my hand. They unexpectedly absent, and I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with that. Another strategy that I'm also thinking of for this right now is what I can do is I can entomb the Tinker. Then I can Yawgmoth's Will, play Lion's Eye Diamond, Yawgmoth's Will in response, do the Lion's Eye Diamond thing, play the Lion's Eye Diamond from my graveyard, and then play the Tinker from my graveyard with the mana made from the first Lion's Eye Diamond trigger, and then tinker out my Blightsteel. That's my current like short-handed way to win. So I'm glad that they got rid of their unexpectedly absent on my poopy little goblin, because of my Tinker plan. So here I'm like, do I do the Entomb now? Do I wait around for my goblin? Because like if I need to do a backup strategy, the goblin might be very important. So I have to think now, like, do I? And I go, you know what? Sure. I'll wait for my goblin. Now, this Gideon will get out of hand. It'll get Owly out of hand. Zendikar. I'd rather take the bus. So, here we go. I could go for a Wheel of Fortune, but my opponent's playing 3 colors, technically 4, access to 4 colors. I don't want to give them a grip of 7 new cards. That seems poop-tastic to me. So I go, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do this Tinker plan. This is what we've decided. This is the way. A little bit of a problem in that I'm burning both my Yawgwill. I'm burning my Yawgwill, so if I want to use it again, I have to like pass some flames my Yawgwill. So I think the plan is to see what else I draw, and maybe go for. Am I going for it? Do I go for it? Do I want a demonic first? I'm running out of time, so I could demonic and try for another strategy, but I go, you know what? Hey, let's do this. So you make the mana in response. You get back the Lion's Eye. Now I tinker out. Blights. So they are white, which is white is the most dangerous color against just from all my Reanimer experience, having one big threat in play. Blue's also dangerous for like control magic and treachery, but I'm way more scared of the white that they have right now. So I'm like, okay, they haven't conceded yet, but they are making a lot of tokens, so technically maybe they can buy themselves, you know, two blocks of this Blightsteel. And then they go, boop, condemn. And I want to concede, but I have this thing of like, I can Seething Song for Past in Flames, Seething Song again, Demonic from the graveyard into like a Wheel of Fortune. Maybe it does something. The good thing about Storm is my deck, a lot of it only works good with the rest of my deck. The individual pieces are kind of poopy alone. So Gonti, I'm like, okay, do what you wanna. So I Faithless Looting, trying to look for more fodder for when I use this Past in Flames with the Seething Song. I find Dark Ritual. So now next turn I can Seething Song, Dark Ritual, Past in Flames, Seething Song, Dark Ritual, you know, a Demonic Tutor, find empty the Warrens, and then hopefully, you know, the 6 spells that I've played can make enough little pooplings. Oh, I think I'm exactly. This is the turn I'm exactly dead. Yeah. So they found it. I'm exactly. If they attack with the Gideon, I would be at 1 life. But if they emblem the Gideon and attack even with their land, I am dead. So now I'm like, well, they have all this white removal. Do I really want to keep the Tinker and Blightsteel, or do I want to go for like a Through the Breach Gristlebrand, which has value even if they do manage to get rid of it? I'm debating, but then I'm like, you know, if I can second turn Tinker, they still have to have it. It's still dangerous enough where, like, you do it. This hand doesn't, like, draw anything. This hand, the Ancestral gives me longevity, and then the Past in Flames is sort of like a backup plan. So I have no black, worth noting. No black mana. Still no black mana. But, you know, this Yogg Bargain, I'm 2 lands away from playing it, and then I can go Ape Poopy. So they collected Brutality, and this is definitely collecting some Brutality. Oh boy. Whoa, actually, 1 second. Is this as fast as I wanted to go? Playback speed. We can go faster. Great. We're going this. So I'm trying to find more things to do. I don't think now that my hand is smaller that I'm going to be Yawgmoth bargaining unless I like Yawgmoth's Will first, in which case it doesn't matter if it's in my graveyard. I play Bergie. I'm hoping to be able to like Faithless Looting into Past in Flames into something into Empty the Warren. My opponent is a little. They kept a poop hand, so I get this Ancestral Vision. That is spell 1. Hooray! Now I get Seething Song. I'm like, but I also have Thassa's Oracle and Yawgmoth's Bargain. So now I have multiple ways I can potentially try to win. So I'm thinking like, oh boy, if I use all of my rituals and stuff, then it's like I can only do this once, so I just go for it. I'm like, hey, I can't let my opponent just sit here, so Seething Song, let's do this. Land. I think this is the turn that I should have been more careful with how I tap my mana. I Dark Ritual. I'm just doing all the ritual things. So they path me, and I want as much mana as possible. So I do Seething Song in response for the extra mana. Note, I burned a blue to do that. To get 1 extra mana. I Faithless Looting. I'm like, I don't want this Blightsteel in hand. Definitely not. Even though I'm not that far away from it. From casting it. But I would need more rituals, and I'm not going to have them now. So, note, I would have been able to play this Thassa's Oracle if I had kept the blue up. And I would have gotten more Goblins. Now, you know, usually 16 Goblins is like, this is enough. I win. However, in their weird, what seemed like a creature-based deck, they have balance, and it's just brutal, kind of for both of us. And that, like, I go down on lands, which I desperately need. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like Goblin Warrens as the win condition. There's Wrath of God, there's Toxic Deluge, there's Damnation, there's Massacre Worm. There's all sorts of ways it can go awry. So now my question is like, do I pop the Yawgmoth's Will this turn and get the double line side? Do I wait? I go, you know what? Hey, we only live once. Let's do it. So I get to line side diamond again. I'm thinking like, if I Yawgmoth's Bargain, maybe can I Yawgmoth's Bargain and then do the Oracle? Am I just going to empty the Warren for like 4? Or I guess I can empty the Warren for 10 if I Thassa's Oracle first. I don't want either of these cards. Neither of these cards help me win if this next attempt fails. So I managed to, once again, populate the board with goblins. Current goblin count around 20. So they Gonti, but like, you know, I still have them. Once again, there's nothing really useful in my deck for them to Gonti. I'm not scared of anything in my deck that they can Gonti. I get an Imperial Seal now. I'm like, what do I want with this Imperial Seal? I kind of just want to land so I can Wandering Fumarole and attack, and they'll have 11 attackers. They will have 1 blocker as I see it right now, and then like, there's a thought to like Wheel of Fortune, but they only have 1 card in hand. I don't want to give them a grip of 7 more. I just don't. So they Soul Ring. I'm assuming, yeah, that's what they grabbed from me. Not too scary. They Dark Confident, which like more of a liability than anything else. I know they're gonna block with it. They have to block with it. So we attack. They have to block my Fumarole or have removal. I'm like, okay, let's do this. They're currently dead. They're currently alive. I switched the power and toughness again because you gain life relative to the toughness on the creature for Condemn. So I get my life back. They're still dead in 1 turn unless they do something big. So I'm pretty confident in this game. And hey, I takes it home. Okay, going into the next game, I think I'm okay with my strategy. I know what I need to watch out for. I don't want to make any big pivots. That's the one problem with Storm. You really are sort of, stuck in what you're doing. So here, I like this hand because hopefully I can Lotus Bloom on turn 1, and then the turn the Lotus Bloom goes off, I can Lion's Eye Diamond, do Yawgmoth Will things, or I can use the Lotus Bloom or the Lion's Eye Diamond as Tinker food and say, okay, let's see if you do have an answer for this Blightsteel. So here we go. I drew a blue, which I do like. I play the Lion's Eye Diamond just in case there's always this play of like, do I think they have discard or do I think they have, do I need the extra spell for the turn I storm off? And so I go, well, okay, maybe I think they have discard, which they do. They just don't have discard to hit the Lion's Eye. So they Collective Brutality, and this is difficult. They can hit the Tinker, the Yawgmoth's Will, the Past in Flames. They go for the Tinker. I do think that's the correct decision because I need a lot more critical mass before any of this other stuff does anything. So here I'm in a kind of a bind in that I don't have enough cards that do things. I can actually Yawgmoth's Will the Tinker. The turn the Lotus Bloom comes out, I can use one of the Lion's Eye / Lotus Bloom to Yawg Will, and then I can play Tinker and sacrifice the other. So here comes my Lotus Bloom. They unexpectedly absent that. I don't know if that's correct. I think what they should have done is during my upkeep, do it to the Lotus Bloom. Because, like, I can potentially draw that and play it immediately. Versus this Lotus Bloom is on a delay. So I'm like, you know what? Mana Flare. They only have 2 cards in their hand, so they're limited in like how abused I can be by my own Mana Flare. Although they can attack with both of their man lands now. So I don't have many turns. I'm on a 3rd turn clock. But I figure if I'm going to combo out, I need to have a big turn. And hey, look, a big turn generator. Now I have potentially 11 mana. So I think, you know what? First, let me go for this this Tinker. Hey, it works. Now I say, first, see if you have an answer for Blightsteel Colossus. This is test number 1 for my opponent's 2-card hand. Do you? And gee golly, they do. Not only do they, but hoo boy, it's an answer that puts me at a huge on a 1-turn clock. I am now in super danger. But I have like enough pieces, believe it or not. I Wheel of Fortune. I get lucky enough to draw. So yeah, think it through and do the puzzle yourself, because this is not an easy puzzle about how one goes about winning this game. I have very limited resources, and I'm going to have to abuse them to the max to get there. So what do you do now? There's Past in Flames, and if I might have to Past in Flames the Yawgmoth's Will if I discard some cards. If I'm planning to Seething Song and use this Past in Flame, then the Brawl, once I've played 2 spells with colorless mana in the casting cost, more than 2 colorless mana, Brawl has become mana efficient. I am burning mana right now, which is like my blue mana, for this Thassa's Oracle potentially, but here we go. I'm like, let's just go for it. I get Manamorphose, which is exactly what I needed, and now I'm like, what do I discard? I think I'm getting discarding land because I assume I'm going to be Yawgmoth's Willing this turn, and then I can play a land from my graveyard. So we see what I want to do. I Faithless Looting again, and then I'm like, oh, Burgby. Either side of Burgby is going to be very powerful. So here I'm looking at Thassa's Oracle because I have both the Yawgmoth's Bargain and I have the Burgee. So the Horn side of Burgee is another way I can remove all the cards from my deck. So I can either like Wheel of Fortune, then I'll have 9 cards left in my library, and guess what? I have 9 lives, so Yawgmoth's Bargain can sort of get me there. Remember, I have 4 blue mana, 4 pips between the Oracle, the Electromancer, and the Baral. It is worth noting. However, also worth noting, they have white and black up. If they path or whatever in response, I will only have the 2 blues. So I really need to get down to 2 cards in my library. I go Manamorphose again. It is mana net positive. It can get me that blue. I go for the blue. I go, you know what? Maybe I'm playing another blue. I don't know. So I'm thinking, like, if I'm playing enough spells, this Burgee will make mana. It'll make mana if I'm going Past in Flames, Wheel, Seething Song. If I'm doing enough stuff in a row, and I have the Wheel of Fortune to draw more cards. So I go, you know what? Hey, let's do. I don't like that I'm using the blue mana, but I don't have many other uses for the blue mana other than Tinker now that I have Baral out, and I'm like, okay, I've got to burn this. I've got to burn this Past in Flames. I'm just playing all. I have no blue mana, but I can always Manamorphose. But then I don't have black mana, so it's like, brah. Luckily, I draw a bunch of black mana generators. I'm now not worried about mana. Now I'm just worried about winning the game. I can entomb 1 more card away, so if I Yawgmoth's Will, or Yawgmoth's Bargain, I can draw enough cards now to Thassa. So I can entomb, I guess I Yawgmoth's Will first so that I can, A, give a few more things flashback, and then B, play this Yawgmoth's Will. It's not an instant or sorcery, so Past in Flames does not let you get it back. I'm just making my deck smaller, seeing what else I have. I'm like, I can leave 1 card left in my library and get a Goblin Warren, both because I'll have enough Warren tokens to block. Well, Creeping Tar Pit. I really shouldn't go lower than 4. I don't go more than 4 life. Oh, I have such good discipline. Look at that. So if the Thassa's Oracle plan didn't work, I would have had like 20-something odd goblins. I would have had to block at least 2 on the Blightsteel. But I would have gone, as long as I had enough other blockers, I would have only gone to 1 from 4 for the Creeping Tar Pit, and I could have swung back and potentially won. So you leave 1 card in your library to draw that 1 card on your final turn, and you have a Goblin. Way to win. Whew. Man. Whew, that was a difficult one. So now, no lands. You got to throw it back. Throw it back. Throw it back. It's a throwback. We throwing it back. This hand, a little weak, but presumably on 1 turn I can go like Lion's Eye Diamond, Entomb, and Entomb the Past in Flames, and then empty the Warrens, and then hope to get more tutors or more rituals, so that on a subsequent turn I can like Past in Flame, ritual, empty the Warrens from my graveyard. So I draw Wheel of Fortune. So now I'm like, Wheel of Fortune. Well, I don't know why Wheel of Fortune is so. The Collective Brutality, once again, emphasis on brutal. I'm playing a whole bunch of opponents with control cards. That's exactly what I don't want. I want just like piddly green decks, or even piddly red decks I'll take. But nope, all sorts of card advantage, potential discarding, potential counterspell matchups. But I still win. So the Gonti, once again, I'm not too... It's like, am I playing the same opponent? The Gonti, I don't care about Gonti. And I'm just sort of like, okay, I need one critical mass. Next turn, I can Entomb, Lion's Eye Diamond, empty the Warren for 6. They Gonti again. I'm really, once again, I'm not scared about this, especially because Gonti is legendary. They will have to sack one. They're getting 2 cards from my library, but my deck isn't that powerful on its own. Now, they do Imperial Seal, which is one of the good cards in my deck because it finds an actual card from their deck. So now I'm like, do I ritual? Do I save the ritual? It makes 2 goblins, but like, I could technically maybe get Past in Flames and then like ritual again. But if I'm entombing the Past in Flames and burning it, then I don't have it on a subsequent turn if I need it. There's like all these like bliffs and butts and coconuts that are going through my head. Storm is not easy to play when you don't have like Black Lotus. So I Lion's Eye. Great. I Entomb. Going for that Past in Flames. Yep. So now I have a decision of like, I could Past in Flames, Lion's Eye Diamond in response, and then like Entomb, Dark Ritual, Imperial Seal, Wheel of Fortune, empty the Warren again, or I can just empty for 8. And so I'm like, well, do I empty for 8 now and potentially empty again next turn? I go for like the, okay, I'll empty now. I'll get a decent board. Next turn when I have access to potentially all my mana again. Haha, joke's on you. My hand is terrible. Now, presumably, my opponent did, first of all, I like that the Imperial Sealed and put it in my graveyard. So now I have access to it. But then also, presumably, they have the best spell in their deck, whatever that is, because they found it. And I doubt that was Ophiomancer. Oh, maybe it was Duress. Maybe they went for Duress because they were afraid I had Time Spiral or something. That makes sense. So I Brawl, and now I attack. Some goblins are going to get eaten, but now I can really go wild, or I can wait another turn. And I'm trying to do math in my head about like, okay, if I Lion's Eye Diamond, that's 7 mana. I can Ritual up to 9 mana. I can then Dark Ritual and Entomb. So I Pass in Flames. I do the Dark Ritual. So this is interesting. I can Entomb something. Then if I have to Pass in Flames... oh, no, I've already used Pass in Flames. So anything I get is just going to be Yawgmoth's Willable. I can't get the Yawgmoth Will because that will... I won't have any way to use it. So now I'm like, okay, anything I put on top of my library, I can then draw with this Wheel of Fortune if I need to. Oh, no, I don't. I don't do that. I just make a butt ton of goblins and say, hey... Can you beat these goblins? And if I had a Yawgmoth's Will, I potentially had a Wheel of Fortune, like Tinker, Lion's Eye Diamond backup plan. Once again, I don't have enough options to sideboard. I don't think the Gristle brand, Dark Slick Shores. The Gristle brand plan will be enough. So I don't sideboard anything. I like my deck the way it is. And here we go. This hand, poopy that I have Blightsteel, and it's like, I don't have any red, so I mulligan. Here, interesting. So with the Mana Flare and 3 lands, I have enough to cast this Yawgmoth's Bargain, and I'm like, hey, let's do it. Let's go for Mana Flare, Yawgmoth's Bargain. They have Black Lotus, so immediately I'm like, well, I've lost this game. This game is over. They're gonna make me discard. They're gonna have Counterspell up. They're gonna do something broken. So my opponent thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks. They do play Collective Brutality, and now they have an Ashen Rider. So they get rid of the Ancestral Vision. Oh, I guess that's the only instant sorcery I have. So now I draw Dark Ritual, so I'm like, next turn I could Dark Ritual out this Mana Flare, and then the turn after I can Yawgmoth's Bargain. It doesn't really matter that I was card deficient. So I'm like, I think that's the plan. They only have 1 land, so I'm not too worried about them going crazy. They're trying to draw lands now. So they kept a greedy hand off the back of that Black Lotus. And so now I'm like, okay, let's draw some cards. Not too many, just in case. If they Ashen Rider, I might need to do something in response. They discarded the Necromancy, though, but, like, why? What can there be their hand that... Because, like, if they drew a black, they could then Necromancy the Ashen Rider. I don't know what they had in their hand. Maybe they had Exhume, Animate Dead, etc., but, like, it cannot be correct. And they concede. Never concede against Storm. Storm in Vintage Cube, oh, it's so precarious. There's so many times when you seem like, oh yeah, I'm deterministic, and you in fact are not. The opponent can misclick. Like never concede against Storm in Vintage unless your clock is an issue and you need to go into game 3 with some clock speed. Or I mean just F6. Jeez. This hand I have Demonic Tutor, which is any card everywhere you want to be. Demonic Tutor. So play the land that might come into play tap later on turn 1. So they have library. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're a piddly green deck. I don't know if they're a control deck. I don't know. Do I want to give them more cards? Not necessarily, but I need to. My hand is so underpowered right now that, you know, what else do I do? So they library. Cool. Once again, blue! The one color blue and black, the colors I don't want to play against. Blue again. And I'm in my headspace, I'm so angry. So I could Dark Ritual Wheel of Fortune if I so choose. Instead, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Manamorphose, see what I do, and then do it. And I get Electromancer. I'm like, I kind of want to keep Electromancer, so yeah, I'll wait a turn. Oh, the good news is Wheel of Fortune will negate their advantage, that they're losing tempo to draw cards with library. And since Wheel of Fortune will sort of reset both of our hands, I am fine with that. So I Goblin, Electromancer. They Mana Leak. Technically, I could Dark Ritual in response and save it. Maybe I should have on second thought. Yeah, I should have, considering what I do. But it works out in that now I can Imperial Seal. I go for Lion's Eye Diamond. I don't have Yagmoth's. Well, what are you doing, William? What's the plan here? What's the plan here? Is the plan to pass in Flames, Tinker, and then no. I have to discard this Blightsteel. So I think I grab Faithless Looting. Faithless Looting is the pick, I think. I'm thinking. Seething Song might also be a pick. Yeah, Seething Song. So that I can like Brawl, Seething Song. So they get rid of a land. Luckily, I have this Dark Slick Shores. I'm not too worried about it. I do see Zealous Conscripts in their graveyard, so I do need to be aware that they might have the Splinter Twin. They daze my Burgie. It hurts my heart, but it's not too terrible. And now I'm like, I need to go off, and I need to go off soon. Get rid of the Blightsteel. I don't want it in my hand. I need it in my library for this Tinker. I Brawl, and now I'm like, do I wait or do I try to go off? Because right now I can Seething Song, Pass and Flame, Seething Song again, Manamorphose, Dark Ritual. There's like, and then I can like Faithless Looting again or Wheel of Fortune again, and I just go, you know what? Hey, you do Storm to YOLO. Let's go, yo. So Manamorphose, I won't be able to get 2 blue, which is a problem because of the I won't be able to Thassa's Oracle if I want to, but hey. Them's the breaks. I get a blue and a black just in case I want to. Oh, hey, look. Now I can tinker. But I think right now I'd rather go for the biggest. No, I do. Oh, I do tinker because I have enough mana. I still have enough mana to go get and play the Empty the Warrens. So I grab the Empty the Warrens. I play Imperial Seal so I can set up my draw next turn. First I Faithless Looting? Yeah, that makes sense. The Faithless Looting. To get more things in my graveyard. The one problem would be if I had drawn the Yawgmoth's Will. I would have been in trouble. And then, hey, what do you say to 26 Goblins and a Blightsteel? Now, note, they have Zealous Conscripts in their graveyard, so tinkering out a Blightsteel could kill me in future games. It is worth noting that. They tap out a blue, and I'm like, unless they have Pyroclasm and something to deal with this Blightsteel, I am perfectly fine. So I'm pretty much like, this game's in the bag. This one, I got it, and I do. And I do. So once again, no real sideboard strategy. No real strategy. Just playing the cards. No, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to go off in Vintage Cube because you're limited on resources. You don't know what your opponent's doing. They can have weird things like days at any given time, force of will. So here, plan is to second turn Tinker. That's all I want. Second turn Tinker. It's dangerous because of, once again, because of the Zealous Conscripts, etc. But, hey, second turn Tinker. What's my opponent going to do? Live? No. So they once again have library, a little bit worse on the... And then I draw... I draw the Blightsteel. I draw it. So now I have to get rid of it. Ugh. So infuriating. But it is what it is. And it is what happened. So they get to see my poop-tastic hand. And they're like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. They're not scared. Here, I Baral. And then I can now Demonic. Wheel of Fortune, I think, as a way to reload. Oh, Faithless Looting, so I can draw more cards, reload my hand a little bit, and get rid of this Blightsteel. So they Lightning Bolt the Baral. I don't care. This is an interesting kind of misplay, but maybe not misplay. So I Lion's Eye Diamond. I play Faithless Looting. I don't need the Colossus. Ancestral Visions is probably honestly too slow, but I'm like, maybe it's a way to reload. So I Tinker. I get rid of my Soul Ring, thinking that the Lion's Eye Diamond I can use on later turns, and I've seen Mana Leak. If they Mana Leak the Tinker, I assume that Lion's Eye Diamond was a mana ability, so I'd be able to use it in the mana phase. However, I don't know whether I'm wrong or Magic the Gathering Online is wrong. I thought that I could activate it once I let the Mana Leak resolve. What else could they have had? I should have done it just to be sure, but I did not, and so now we're in the pay mana phase, and it's not letting me. So I'm like, wow, no, I've lost. I'm in such a pit of despair. However, worth noting, they're at 4 mana, and they have a Zealous Conscript. Exactly the danger that I was afraid of could have happened to me with a Zealous Conscript, my own Blightsteel, and kill me with it. So in a way, I'm like, well, maybe I dodged a bullet. I don't know. The game's not over yet. I'm at a severe lack of resources now. But one Wheel of Fortune can change that. They dig through time, and now it's like, well, I would have been attacking with my Blightsteel, so they would have already needed to have the Conscript. But I don't know what they have in their hand right now. No idea. They play a dragon. I'm like, well, I'm definitely gonna lose this game. I'm so sad right now. I'm crying in my heart space. I Faithless Looting. I just want this empty the Warrens. And I'm hoping to draw some things to do some things. They're hitting me real low. I'm still sad. And then they play Dak, which if they had Dak from the beginning, I get rid of the Lion's Eye Diamond, so if I draw a Yawgmoth Swirl, I can still use it. If they had the Dak from the beginning, then once again, it's another way that my Blightsteel would have made me lose. The Pestilmite could have tapped my Blightsteel for a turn. There's a lot of ways this could have gone way against me. So I would rather have the Horn side of Birgi, but I don't have enough mana to play it. Also worth noting, if I Horn side of Birgi, that is an artifact. Dak couldn't steal it this game because he didn't have the plus enough counters on him. But in future games, it's worth noting. So I have one turn because of this dragon to potentially turn it around. Not impossible with Wheel of Fortune or Yogg Will, but a 2 won't do it. So honestly, I thought that was game 3. I'm like, I get another game. I have another chance. Who knows? I probably would have won if I could have Blightsteeled, if I had done the safety in Lion's Eye Diamond. Active. Wait. Active. Wait. Per the. Ooh, does Lion's Eye Diamond. I mean, I'm sure there's Errata'd, but play this ability as a mana source. Which means to me that implies that I can do that after the mana leak has resolved. And I feel like in real Magic, well, whatever. I won't get into it, but I'm not sure the ruling on that, whether Magic Online should allow me to, or if I should have to do it in response to the mana leak. So this hand is a little poopy, but Faithless Looting technically is 4 new cards. I don't want to mulligan if I don't have to. So hey, look, 2 very strong cards. Mana Flare with the Horn will be probably enough. I get rid of Mana Flare. maybe I'm scared of what my opponent might do, and I'm planning on burgieing the god side because I'm afraid of the Dak on the horn side. So now I draw a Yawgmoth's Will, and I'm like, okay, this I can work with this. They get library a third game in a row. How difficult can you be? And I'm like, do I Imperial Seal or do I burgie? Do I Imperial Seal or do I burgie? Do I Imperial Seal or do I burgie? They do have a lightning bolt. They did it to my Brawl game 1, I believe. So I just burgie. I could have also Seething Songed into the horn, but I don't. I want to go off next turn and like Yawgmoth's Will into Mana Flare into Faithless Looting into Imperial. So what I can do is I can Imperial Seal. They bounce my burgie. Bye burgie. They're gonna stall me a turn. What I could have done is I can Imperial Seal for Empty the Warrens, Seething Song, Yawg Will, Faithless Looting into the Empty the Warrens, Seething Song again, etc. etc. So you get Manamorphose, and I'm like, oh, I think with the burgie I have enough. I kind of also want to play it burgie as a horn, but hey, what can you do? You play burgie, you just go for it. You just say, you know what? Hey, Seething Song, let's do this. Mana. Hey, now I actually have black mana. Black. I draw a blue, and I'm like, oh, am I going to be Thassa's Oracling? Yeah, I don't know. Let's Imperial Seal, and then Yawg Will, and then see what's up from there. So I'm getting so much red mana from this burgie, but I am running out of other sources worth noting. So I play the island from my graveyard, so I can still discard this island to the Faithless Looting if I draw 2 cards I like. I get black. I can still Imperial Seal for another card I might want. That's what I'm looking. I'm like, what else do I want? Do I want to try to do Tinker things? Do I want a Yawgmoth's Bargain? What do I want to do? I think I grab Tinker as a backup. Like, well, this is a way I could win if I need to. I Faithless Looting, draw my Tinker. I don't want these lands. And I could Mana Flare, but I don't want to give my opponent the resources. So now I have 22 Goblins. Come at me, opponent. Come at me. And it turns out they decide ... They draw an extra card. Okay, that's a good sign. Oh, and it's Mindstorm. Celebrate with the mouse. That mouse is going crazy. Yeah, I did it. I won. I won with a mediocre Storm deck. I both got lucky. I made some mistake. I made one big mistake with that Blightsteel, but also like those are hard games, and I was against kind of Storm's main enemy, which is anything with interaction, discard or counter spells, and I saw a little bit of both, as well as some white interaction for when it mattered with my Blightsteel. So great hard games. Don't play Storm if you don't really feel like hurting your brain and thinking. If you liked this video, please actually like it on YouTube. It helps me a lot. If you really like this video, hey, leave a nice comment. They mean a lot to me. They keep me inspired. And if you really like this video, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll do more. Check out more other videos that are probably playing in the outro reel right now, and have a wonderful day, everyone.